Hi, beautiful thrivers. Okay, so you've figured out who the narcissist is and you want to know what you're going to do next. That's a really, really big question because it's going to depend on where you are at with your own self, and it's going to depend on where you are at with your life with the narcissist. Let's just get back to the fundaments and make it really straight and simple. Even though it's mental, it's not simple at all, but we're going to try and simplify it as much as we can. Once you've worked out who a narcissist is, the thing is, this person is a narcissist. So it'd be like expecting a crocodile to roll over while you scratch its tummy, or it's going to go fetch a ball for you. A narcissist is not going to meet you with kindness and compassion and teamwork and solution building and healing for your relationship, because that's actually what the narcissist that's not what the narcissist is after. The narcissist is after parasiting and feeding off your energy because they're not a true self. They're a false self that needs outside energy, acclaim, stuff, and significance in order to hold up the mirage, the fictitious character of the narcissist, which is the false self. So this person does not have a true self. You're not having a relationship with a true self. You're not having a relationship with somebody who has capacity or even desire to love you. They love what they can get from you. And a narcissist doesn't care about you. They don't have the capacity or the desire to care about you. They only care about feeding the true master, which is the false self, which is the run amok, insecure, insatiable, bottomless pit of the ego. So you found out that the narcissist is a narcissist, and it can be an absolute huge shock to you. And of course, there can be cognitive dissonance with it. You may think, well, if only they can change, and if only they can meet their inner wounds and their traumas and they can work at it, and maybe there's a possibility that I can pray for this person, or I can love them back to help, or maybe it's my duty. And, lots of people have had terrible childhoods and it's not their fault. And maybe it's to do with me as well. And maybe if I just change me, this can change something about this person. But there is a very powerful way that you can get straight with this, and you can stand up into the truth that you have to be living for you. And then if this person has got the capacity, they could follow you. If they were just selfish or ignorant or stubborn and not a narcissist, they may be able to meet you at that place. But you really need to understand that even selfish and ignorant and stubborn people generally don't have the defunct character traits of pathological lying, malicious behavior, getting triggered on hairline triggers that normal adults don't get bent out of shape about, and then lining you up and abusing you horrifically with cruel, conscienceless words and actions, and even revenge tactics where the punishment does not match the crime. The ability to smear you to all and sundry and maybe try to destroy your relationships, your businesses, your passion, your dreams. If somebody in your life has got the capacity for all of these things, they are way past the point of redemption. This is somebody with a flawed narcissistic character, with huge malfunctions inside their inner being as to who they are at an inner identity level, and they have broken away from humanity. It's not your job to try to put them back together. And a person who stepped over the line this far does not want to put themselves back together. They really have been taken over by the false entity, which is the false self, which is granting them the ability to be able to behave in such conscienceless, malicious ways. And the thing is, that this person is malicious and conscienceless because when you go for accountability, or when you're aggrieved through the injuries that they've inflicted on you, there isn't remorse. There isn't this person able to be humble and real and apologetic and authentic about their apology. And they don't care about you. It's not because you're unlovable or you're unworthy of care and love. It's because they don't have capacity. Because when they have aggrieved you, they will leave you bleeding. They don't care about the we in the relationship. There's only the I. And they don't come and, the thing is, there can be people who are good people who, for whatever reason in their life, can mess up and do something that's out of bounds and uncaring or even insensitive or arrogant or hurtful. But a person with a conscience and a sense of self has the ability to say, I'm sorry, I messed up. I'm so sorry I did that to you, and I'm going to make sure I never do that again because that was awful. I should never have treated you like that. And not only do they care enough about we, the us, the relationship, they don't want to lose it, they genuinely care about you enough to be able to do that. A narcissist doesn't. As far as a narcissist is concerned, in their hubris, in their superiority, you deserve what you get because of what you did or what they assumed you did. And you are so lucky and privileged to have anything from the narcissist at all. And in their superiority and in their hubris, regardless of how they treat you and they kick you in the head, you're supposed to get up and keep worshipping them and loving and respecting them regardless. Because to them, you're not a person. You're not a blood and soul individual who is a person. You don't have a spirit. You don't have a soul. You're not worth caring about because they are not in contact with their own spirit and soul. They're a false self run amok. If you don't have a self, you can't care about anybody else's self. It's impossible. And this is the problem. So now that you've realized, if this person is capable of these things, and if when they do shocking things, whether it be words and actions that are just horrific, that they're not on their hands and knees in total remorse, feeling so bad, when they don't have applicable guilt and remorse and humility and realness, then you're not dealing with a real self. You're dealing with something else. And this something else is not going to stop being this something else. So what do? What I am always going to call out the most powerful thing that you can do is detach, get away into modified or no contact. In some cases you can't just leave, or you're going to have connections through children or businesses or whatever it is. But pull away and stop expecting from this person reform, remorse. Stop expecting atonement. Stop expecting them to respect you and get what they've done, and stop needing all of those things. Because the more you're in the neediness of those things, you're actually in conditional living. You have to change for me to be okay. And that is the very definition of suffering and narcissistic abuse that leads to more victimization and will never get you out into your true life and into thriving. This person does not have the capacity or the desire to get or provide you with any of those things. In fact, they're going to do the very opposite. And it is what it is. You can't force them to. The more you try to control somebody else's behavior to make it under control, the more you get out of control. Remember that. So this is about self-responsibility now. Because you're wounded. It's like you've been hit by a Mack truck. If you've worked out that this person is a narcissistic abuser in your life, you've been hit metaphorically by a Mack truck. So this means that your inner being, your inner love code, your interpersonal relationship code has been deeply poisoned, toxified, and infiltrated with painful, terrible traumas and the dense emotional energy that goes with them. So you're in a bad way, which means you're going to be stuck in a terrible peptide addiction of the traumatization. You're going to be obsessing. You have complicated post-traumatic stress disorder. Absolutely. Absolutely. You could have things like fibromyalgia, agoraphobia, adrenal malfunction, sleep and eating pattern disorders now. You feel like your soul's been raped. That's really what's happened. I want you to imagine that you had a little child with you, and I've used this metaphor a lot lately, and this little child got hit by a car, and if you just chased after the driver who got away and you just did all of your research and trying to track them down and find out everything about their life and you just left the child, how do you think the child would be? In a shocking state. What about if that child got to hospital and you never went and visited them because you were obsessed by the driver? Your inner being is exactly the same. You've been hit by a Mack truck. This person has driven off. They're not accountable. They're just going to go off and create another life with other people and do the same stuff because that's what they do. But you are metaphorically that child that's been smashed, who's now lying on the road, bleeding and in a shocking state. So what you need to do is let go of what's going on out there and lean in and go in there to meet and hold and heal and resurrect your inner being out of the trauma programs, out of the fractures. And when you actually do the work from your inner being, and really what you're doing is you are replacing a broken self and reprogramming into a self that is not just a survivor of narcissistic abuse. I'm really anti that goal, but somebody who has truly up-leveled the parts of your soul and your spirit that got caught up in this mess to take back your power, your rights, your values, your ability to lay boundaries, and your ability to get to this ultimate place, which is what thriving is about, is that I understand now how to create myself as true source and true self, and how to understand that my values and my truths are valuable, they're worthy, and I can align with them and I can walk with them, which means things like kindness, authenticity, humility, the ability to grow and learn, somebody who wants true partnership and relationship, whether it be a friendship or a family member or a spouse or a lover. And I know how to walk and command and be that person and no more try to change people into that dynamic of my values and my worth and my truth in order for me to be happy. I know how to lose it all to get it all. I know how to lay boundaries. I know how to be safe in my body, being able to take my time with people, get to know their character, not make the same mistakes. About being too underdeveloped or not enough of a self and being needy or rushing it or letting foxes into my hen house. I'm not going to do that again. But I'm not going to do it from a place of fear and pain, which we do when we're still traumatized. If you do the inner work, you're going to do it from a place of knowingness and power and truth. And of course, as a human, there are going to be challenging times in your life. But the more healing and the more development that we take on, we can actually walk forward into those times with relish, because we know that we're growing and we're healing. And we can graduate through each of those times, punching the air, knowing that there is a life going forward, being authentic, being powerful, being truthful, being able to be ourselves and be safe. So what I really want you to know from my heart to yours is absolutely, you're going to go through a near-death experience, and you probably already have. And this near-death experience is like somebody, belting you across the face with a wet fish. It's like, oh my God. I didn't even know people like this existed, and now I do. And what does this mean? It means that the life you thought you were having is not your true life. And it means that the life you thought you were having was reflecting back to you that, yes, you're a good person, and there's lots that you were giving, and the lots that you were wanting to love this person, you were wanting to fix this person, you were wanting to fix the relationship, you were wanting to hang in there, but you didn't know yet how to love and be solid for yourself. And it all has to start with self. So now that you found out, what do you do? Well, I would love you to sign up to my 16-day free course if you haven't taken on any of my inner transformational journey yet. You may have just been looking at my articles and, my YouTubes, and, they're all great information. But really what I want you to do, if you're like, oh my God, I've looked at the list and I've ticked it off, and I'm like, oh my God, this person is actually a narcissist. Maybe nobody's ever told you. Maybe therapy's never picked it up. Maybe you're just really realizing it now that, you just cannot hit the sweet spot with this person. You can't make a deal work. You're in a toxic cycle going back over and over and over the same stuff. And you think you've got a breakthrough, and then it comes up again that you haven't. And you're belting your head against a brick wall. These are all indications you are actually in relationship with a toxic narcissist. So, once you've looked at, and if you're not sure, I really want you to go to Google my name. I'll put the link up in the comments section here, but it's, am I with a narcissist? Check out that. It's going to give you some really good points as to know how to be. But the truth is, whether or not it's a narcissist, if you don't have somebody who's going to share your values and your truth, which are base foundations for any healthy relationship of kindness, honesty, integrity, wanting to create solutions, caring, compassion, empathy. If those things aren't there, you have no relationship, because there's no self there to have a relationship with. Those things are the foundations of humanity. Whether or not they're narcissistic, this is a person who either doesn't want to, doesn't have the capacity, or they're too damaged, or they're a narcissist. So I want you to check out my 16-day free course, because there's 2 really powerful ebooks that are going to help you work out what you need to do. And then in my 16-day free course, there's my free workshop, my 3 keys workshop, which shows you how to detach and start powerfully healing from the inside out to get your soul, your sanity, and your life back. Those are my strongest suggestions for you. For those of you who are really, really ready to just go, I've had enough of the pain. I know I need to heal me, and I know that's my path to liberation. Check out NARP. It really is the flagship program in this community that does the most incredible deep inner shifts, work and resurrections, so that you'll thrive, not just survive. I hope that this has made sense to you. You may need to go back through this a few times, and my heart goes out to you. I know what you're going through. I know it's the hugest shock you could ever have, but accept it. Because the truth always sets you free, and your soul and life wants you through to the other side. If you stay in the cognitive dissonance, it's going to take you much longer. So just accept it, grab onto my resources. They're going to really help you get through this and out into thriving. I hope that this helps. Lots of love. Bye-bye.